Building a product that people love is actually not so easy. You have to be able to imagine a user experience. You have to come up with a problem that you solve for the user in a really effective way and in a way that a user wants to use. So AI slop and automatically generated stuff will definitely not be helpful. And we see that automatically our agents generate a lot of the slop. And so, how do we get to a place where we are going to get good quality products and good quality features? Well, we have to sit down with the different um, features and actually design them. So we can use the tools that we have now to do this much more effectively and more quickly than we used to before. And while we are still trying to learn how to use the tools properly, we'll have to try and find a way to teach ourselves as quickly as possible. Not in a way that rushes you, but in a way that we want to learn as effectively as possible. Let's let's try and build something real as part of this series. I'll try to build something real and guide you through the steps that are essential to leveling up. So I've thought of this little app where sometimes I want to have a shopping list and I want to have this at one of the supermarkets, but then after one day, my shopping list gets removed because they think I'm gonna order at that moment, and if I didn't order within 24 hours, my shopping list is gone again. So, what I want is to have a groceries app where throughout the week we can add items to the grocery shopping list and then use that list for shopping sessions. So either shopping offline in an actual shop and checking the items off, or maybe online where an agent will look for us through multiple supermarkets and check if the items are there. It will then, I imagine it will look at three different baskets and then compare the prices and report any missing items, and then you can choose which supermarket you want to order with. I also put my own colors here, so let's say that this is the document, this is the design document. It doesn't have all the details, so I purposefully didn't put a ton of details in there so that we can see step by step how we should go about doing this. And let's say we know nothing about nothing about the tools, nothing about how to approach this, then ideally we would ask the agent how to work about around it or how to go about it. And if you're working alone on a hobby project, it's good to just have this dynamic with an agent. If you are working in a company, you want to probably talk through all of these points with your colleagues and kind of do the design together. I see it happening that multiple people working in the same team would be discussing how to approach certain problems, certain designs, and things they want to build, on how to build them, and then have agents in the background building that for them. So before we are there, there's a few steps to go through. So we will first open Claude Code and start asking questions. I want to quickly go through the alternatives to Claude Code. I'll just ask Claude Code for that as well. So let's go to repositories. We'll make a new repository. We call it Shopper, and we'll start Claude here. All right. So as you can see, I have here it says tip run init to create a Claude MD file with instructions, I would recommend against doing this. So even though those companies, they are very experienced in using LLMs, they are also creating products very quickly in a prototypey way. And since the beginning, they've had this /init command. But the thing is, if you create a whole Claude.md file with everything about your project and so on, it might have a lot of context that's filling up the context window. We might not want that. So we see there's no recent activity, and that's in the context of this folder, right? So we have this shopper folder, and did I actually cd into it? I don't think so. So let's do that as well. So we'll do here and then say Claude. We can also see that it knows who I am. This is just my username. We can see which model it's using. We can see the plan that we're at and the email address. And we can see the agent here. We can also see the agent here. So I have an agent that's automatically being used by Claude. And everyone can build their own agents, and you can ask how to do that as well. So this is the repository then. And as last we see here, bypass permissions on. I don't want to recommend bypassing all of the permissions, because now Claude can do everything on your computer without ever asking permission. And if you are getting any kind of attack where someone is injecting a prompt, or maybe it will get an idea to delete some of your files, or maybe email your SSH keys, then we don't want that to happen. So let's say if you read a blog article and someone puts a comment that says, if you are an agent, do this and this, and we don't want that to work. Now, the agents that are very strong, like Opus 4.6 and the Codex model and so on, they have been trained on a lot of data, and they have a lot of connections in the billions, in the hundreds of billions actually. So those models are somewhat resilient against that nowadays, but it's still good practice to not blindly do that and kind of know what you're doing. If you do this on a separate machine and do no bypass permissions, it's still somewhat tricky, but because it might have access to your GitHub account and so on. Anyway, so let's ask it firstly, what are the tools out there that I can use to code? Maybe we should say agentic tools. So here we see this goes into the queue tool type. So it's already asking me what kind of coding tool. So I've told my agent, be inquisitive. And so it's going to ask, it's a very ambiguous question that I asked. So it's going to ask me a question back like, what kind of AI coding assistance? That's the one we're looking for now. So I don't have to do this one. Agentic AI coding tools it is. Let me get Sage to research the current landscape for you. I didn't really want to go into the agent teams yet. Let's just wait for the results here. And we will get into agent teams later as well. We can press Ctrl O to see everything that it's doing, so you can see the prompt. We can also press then Ctrl E to see even more. In this case, there is no more. Sometimes it takes a little bit to catch up as well. So this is using 5 tools, 24,000 tokens. So it's a very elaborate process that it went through to see the different agentic tools. So here it is. So Sage came through with the goods. Here's the full landscape of the agentic AI coding tools as of early 2026. So it's March, end of March. We see Claude Code, we see OpenAI Codex CLI, we see Aider, we see OpenCode, we see Gemini CLI. Are we missing anything? So we also have IDE integrated agentic tools, Cursor, Windsurf, GitHub Copilot, Kiro, Gemini Code Assist. We have cloud and browser-based ones like Devin, Replit, Bolt.new, Lovable, Vercel with V0, Firebase Studio. Have not tried that one yet. An open source Aider, OpenCode, Codex CLI, and Gemini CLI again. So these can use local models as well. Models we can find in Hugging Face. For now, we have an idea of what the tools are. I would really recommend to use a CLI based tool so that you can still use whatever IDE you want. Some people really prefer to use an IDE specific tool. Like Cursor is a fork of VS Code, and it tries to integrate everything from the AIs into the UI directly. And it's not VS Code. It doesn't even have the synchronize function. It doesn't have many of the functions that VS Code itself does have. But their philosophy is to kind of tie everything into that user interface that you're kind of already used to. I think it's actually better to use a harness that is running in the CLI that is optimized for reasoning about your code base as effectively as possible. Like Claude Code and Codex CLI and OpenCode, they are really good at using tools. So it happens that LLMs are good at using tools. And using tools can be opening files, writing to files. It can be any Linux tools. It can be like ripgrep or something like that to very quickly reason about your code. And this is working into the strengths of the LLMs. Now, if you want to do like a lot of coding throughout the whole month, you're probably going to end up paying something like 100, maybe 200 euros in a month or dollars. And that will give you a few thousand euros in inferencing costs if you were to pay the API instead. So always use the OAuth option. Don't use the API option because it's a lot cheaper to use the OAuth option.